Let's turn my apartment into a Korean-style cafe. I've been obsessed with this home cafe concept for a while, and I thought, why not turn my apartment into a mini cafe for my friends? It's a very fun Saturday excursion where people can come to my apartment and get a nice cup of coffee and sample some baked goods. I'm going to show you how I hosted this, and hopefully this inspires you to host something similar at home. If you want to see more behind the scenes, make sure to follow me on Instagram or TikTok. I also have a picnic book coming out, so I'll link that below. First, I made my menu. I wanted this to be very cozy, and I also wanted it to be seasonal for cherry blossom. Make 5 types of pastries and 4 drinks. When deciding on your menu, I would recommend choosing items that you're familiar with and have made before, and maybe 1 or 2 new recipes. This way you can bake with confidence. For my menu, I opted to have these blueberry muffins, caramelized onion and tomato puff pastry bites, chocolate croissants, croffles with fresh cream and berries, and baguette sandwiches. I always recommend prepping as much as you can the night before, so I pre-made my muffin batter so I can easily scoop it in the morning. I also proofed my chocolate croissants so I can just put them in the oven at the same time since they are similar cooking temperatures. I pre-chop all my ingredients the night before for sandwiches and for the puff pastry bites. It'll make arranging everything so much easier. And I always recommend doing as much as you can the night before so the day of you feel relaxed and you have enough time to get everything ready. After making my muffins and popping them in the oven with the pain au chocolat, I started on my puff pastry bites. Puff pastry is so versatile and easy to use. These take about 15 minutes in the oven and they're so delicious. You can make them savory, you can also make them sweet, and because you don't really need measurements, you can get really creative with it and freestyle it. For mine, I use olive oil with some tomatoes and onions, a bit of seasoning, and then I crimp the edges of my puff pastry. Savannah was also here, so we swapped doing puff pastry duty and she helped me make some more. After we finished the puff pastries, we swapped them in the oven because by that point the muffins and the pain au chocolats were done. It smelled so delicious in here. The muffins were super hot when I got them out of the pan and then I plated them. In terms of decor, because I wanted this to look a lot like a cafe, I wanted to focus on wooden elements. I had this long wooden tray and I lined the bottom of that with some parchment paper to put most of the baked goods on. I also had little name cards that I hand wrote in the front. For the muffins, I layered the muffins on top of the stand. I like creating different layers when I'm staging the food so it's not all at eye level. It gives your eyes a lot more contrast. This year, I'm really going outside my comfort zone in terms of hosting and in terms of pushing myself to bake a lot more because it's something that's so therapeutic. I find that every time I bake, I always make too much, so hosting is a great way for me to practice baking. We also got started on our croffles. I always see these at Korean cafes and they are so cute. A croffle is a croissant waffle, and I bought these mini croissants from Trader Joe's and I defrosted them. I found that if you put these straight into the waffle iron while they're frozen, the texture is a little bit off, so I do recommend defrosting them if you're using pre-made croissant dough. Also made a stabilized cream for the topping. Stabilized cream is really great because it retains its shape. That way the topping doesn't get all saggy and sad when the guests arrive. We batch made a bunch of these croffles which turned out so cute. I piped cream on the top and added fresh berries and powdered sugar, and at this time Lauren came a little bit early to help me prep, so she helped pipe the rest of the croffles, and then she also helped me assemble some of the baguette sandwiches. The sandwiches were really simple to make. They just have Dijon mustard, some onion, tomato, arugula, cheese, and prosciutto. And I also forgot to mention this, but I have some dango in the back because it is cherry blossom themed. And for the drinks, I had a few, but there were definitely some favorites among the crowd. The 2 favorites were the matcha latte with strawberries on top and also the muscat grape fizz. I pre-made a grape syrup the night before, which was super easy. All I did was simmer fresh grapes with sugar for a few minutes and I put that in the fridge for the day of. I also made cold brew and offered drip coffee, but these 2 drinks were definitely the fan favorites. At this point, people started trickling in. My friend Val brought a caviar cake, which was so extravagant and beautiful and delicious as well. And my friend Treya also brought a beautiful charcuterie platter, which we devoured. For the decor, I brought cherry blossom leaves. I made a little garland on the table. And I also printed out this cafe menu card. I think it looks so cute. It was really easy to make. I just made it in Canva and I put it together. I also prepped the coffee table so that it looked ready to go. For the coffee setup, I made sure that I had everything set up at my little station, so when people came in, I was ready to make them a drink. And I picked up some flowers to make a few bouquets. I had one big bouquet near the foods and then one on the table and one near the coffee station. Yeah, this was so fun and amazing, and I'm so happy and grateful for everyone who came to my little home cafe, and I hope that it brought you a little bit of joy, and I hope that you also can get inspired to host something similar.